Hi, welcome back to the channel. So in this episode we're going to be talking about cold roof construction, and this time on this sloping roof here. This is the asymmetric gable roof. I'll just show a quick screenshot now of what's been specified by the structural engineer that I've engaged, and this gets us down to a U value of 0.11 kilowatts per meter squared. So it's ultra low U values, so it's very warm. So it's good. I'm really pleased with it. It's a little bit of a faff. There's quite a lot involved. I've got 6 big Veluxes that are going in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there'll be a 5th and a 6th one here once that has been moved out the way. We have loosely put OSB up in here, and it is loose. You know, it doesn't have to have these gaps are absolutely fine. This is not structural. All this is here to do is to help hold the multifoil on the inside of the room, give us something to cross batten to, and then we can get the plasterboard on. And also, more importantly, it stops the insulation from falling down inside the room while we're putting it in. So it makes the installation of the PIR much easier in between all of the rafters. So we're going to get that on now. We're going to be using 170mm PIR, so nice and deep, gives a decent air gap. I'm then going to counter batten. And then, then I'm going to put multifoil over the top, then I'm going to counter batten to hold the multifoil in place, and then we can cross batten for the tiles. Right, we've got the nice thick 170mm insulation here now. Now, you may remember, I don't know if you've seen the video that I did on the rafters, but if you haven't, I'll post a link to this up here, because what I did at that point is I measured exactly where I wanted these to be, and I spent quite a lot of time figuring out exactly where I wanted them because of the positioning of the Veluxes. I then wrote them all down up there and all of them up here, so if we were on top of the roof we can see exactly what that gap is, which makes it easier. But I then went one step further and took a bit of time to write them all out. So I wrote, and I literally went through and wrote this, 75 is the joist, that's the gap, another joist, another gap, and then this is obviously a double, which is that double there, and then the gap. And so now, because I've got all of these measurements of the gaps of the joists, I don't have to go up there, measure them, call it down to Warren for him to then mark it and cut it. We can work together. We can have 2 sheets, 2 saws. We can just work off this one, and we'll just tick them as we go. If it's not ticked, then we can do it. If it is ticked, we can do it. But all of these are exactly the same across here and across here, so it's completely uniform. So if you are doing your own roof, it is so worthwhile laying it out on a scale, marking it, measuring it, and taking the time to do this, because it's now saving me a ton of time after the fact, by meaning that I can literally just stand here with a book with all my measurements and I can mark them up and cut them. Right, so the insulation is starting to go in, just like that. You cut a big long length of it, then just slot it down. It's really nice and easy. So what I've done is I've cut the bottom off, and I've cut the tail off at the end. I'll use those as templates for the next time. So now it's perfectly vertical all the way down, and it sits nice and flat. I'm just going to push it down up there to get to help with some more air gap, and then we can move on to the next one. So we've got one whole row in, nice angled cut here, so it's flush all the way up against this, comes all the way down, square end there, all the way down. Looks like I just need to knock that corner down a little bit. Got a lovely air gap the whole way, and I am still going to be counter battening as well for more airflow. So on the system that's been specified, I'm then going to cover this in multifoil. Then I will be putting battens down the length of the rafters which provide the airflow, and then I'll be doing the breathable membrane. So all the insulation sits below the breathable membrane. Then I counter batten over the top of the breathable membrane for the tiles to go on top of that. I'm being super careful not to walk on this. This is not structural. It's held in with nails, but I don't want to risk it, so I'm staying on the rafters. The roof tiles have arrived, which is great. These ones are for this roof here, which is perfect. It's Thursday today. The roof is coming back on Saturday to finish all of that. I've never seen one of those. It's absolutely awesome. That looks like great fun. Okay, so all of this is in. Those are just the offcuts up there. We are now going to be getting the super quilt on, the space blanket stuff basically. That stuff there, we're going to be laying that, rolling that the whole way across the top, and then we will be counterbattening the whole way down. Right, for those who haven't seen this before, this multi-foil is basically layers of plasticky tinfoil with this kind of foam stuff and a bit of cotton, and then just rinse and repeat over and over and over. And all you do is you lay it on, roll it along and nail it in. So I've put the nail gun, we've set the nail gun so that it's on a very, very shallow nail, so it won't puncture right the way through this. This is actually quite tough stuff anyway, but it just means that we can roll it out and tack it in place basically. So first roll all the way along, nailed down at the end there. You got to cut it. It's an absolute pig to cut this stuff. It's horrible. I just got a pair of kitchen scissors and I'll have to resharpen them at the end of the day, because this will blunt them really badly, but at least it gets through them, which is good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do this bottom roll, and then we're going to fill the gaps in between. You don't need to layer this stuff up. You don't need to have an overlap on this stuff in the same way that you do with breathable membrane or anything like that. So this is now done. What I've done is I've wrapped it round inside here. So you'll remember, I think, from one of the previous videos perhaps, when I framed this out, that the Velux opening only needed to be 94, but I did it to 96. That was so the Velux has a bit of space to splay out, but also so that I can wrap some of this insulation around it in here, get a nice weather seal and a nice insulation seal so no air can slide in this way. So I've done that the whole way along. And yeah, that's it done the whole way along. So now what we do is we batten down the length of the rafter. That holds it in place and it gives us something to counter batten to, so we can then put our breathable felt over the top. So we'll be going down the length of the rafter with the 50mm battens, and then the roofing felt will go over the top of it. Right, you can see that things are getting colder here. It is ice on the top of the insulation. So we're going to leave this one to thaw out in the sun, and we'll take the ones below it. But yeah, that's why you need this stuff, because it is so cold, and the stuff on the back is wet. So there you go. Right, we'll put this one back and we'll grab some of these other ones. Right, I'm not sure where in the process you're catching us up, but we've spent the whole day. Well, we finished filling the roof there with insulation, and we put the OSB on the underside. We've just got to do the super quilt, that stuff there, the super quilt over the top, and then counter batten, but that's relatively quick actually. We've framed out this gable, and then we've just started putting this verge on here. Well, it's not really the verge, is it? It's the barge board that then supports the verge with the tiles and everything. So yeah, that'll look quite nice, I think. I think that's going to look really nice. We're just going to do the same on the other side here, coming down to that bit, and it will hit that fascia. I've done the fascia on this side. I'm not really going to show you, but I spent some time doing this because this is my neighbour's property, so I don't really want to show too much there, but that's on that side. The camera makes it look a little bit curved, I think, which is a bit odd, but it's not. It's nice and straight along that line of the wall, which is fine. There's no overhang on that side, just the fascia, and then the gutter will sit, so because we've built right up to the boundary, there's no fascia. The airflow will go up through underneath the gutter, which is also why we've counter battened. We've batten down the rafters, and then we're counter battening that way, so there's plenty of airflow to get underneath. 50mm of airflow over the top of the roof. We're going to have a vented soffit under here as well, which will provide airflow, because don't forget the battens for the ridge tiles, for the roof tiles are going this way, so there'll be airflow that way and there'll be airflow up that way. Right, so we are simply rolling this down the length, putting the battens on, the battens then pinning it down in place with the nail gun. I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, it's 4:10 it's on Friday, it's quitting time, and this is all wrapped. You'll see we've put this verge on. That doesn't need to be insulated because it's outside of the envelope of the building, and what we'll be able to do is counter batten across to it and pack it out, and the verge tiles will go on the end there, and then all of that outside will get covered in fascia, so that's fine. That's our nice verge, and then what that does is it helps protect down at the bottom there. It will help protect the well, it'll stop the back of the house getting any water on it basically when it rains. All of this is done. Tomorrow that roof is getting fully tiled and that'll be finished, and we're going to finish cladding the outside of the house, which would be really nice to get that all done. There'll be proper lead and felt and batten and everything done on that, which would be really good. This is all now done. On this one, what we did is on this one over here, we went across the roof, which was fine, but I actually don't think that was the smartest move, if I'm perfectly honest. Going down the roof worked much better. Nice long lengths of stuff, really easy to do. The edges still fold in, which works nicely because that will insulate the inside of the Velux windows. So yeah, that is pretty much it. Tomorrow I can then felt and batten the roof all the way up this way, and I can felt and batten across this bit, and then once that is done, once this is gone, I can put these rafters in and I can felt and batten, and then do the same thing on this side as we have done with this here. So that is a wrap, which is really good. Once that scaffold goes on Monday, I can finish the rest of the roof. It's fully insulated inside and on top. Right, the scaffolding is down, which is really nice. It means I can finish building this garage here. So I'm going to be extending across the front garage wall, as you know. That pitched roof is going to carry on across like that. Scaffolding is literally coming down as we speak. I just finished while the middle platform was still up. In fact, we'll come in this way and I'll show you. They're just taking it down now. So that's coming down. While that was up, got the last of these rafters in. Got to do the little intermediate section there, but that's easily done with the tower and the ladder. All those rafter tails are in, nice and straight. So the scaffold is out. Scaffold's out, you get a much better idea now of how high the ceiling is. I'm 6'1" and this is a big long stick, and I can just touch that up there. Hence why we've got these on plug sockets. I'll be running all the cables down. I'm going to run them into 2 switches, so the kitchen ones will be on one switch, and then these 4 will be on another switch, and they'll all be operated at the same time. They've got rain sensors as well,
but we didn't want to have a touch panel and have to program them and have loads of different things to faff with. Just nice and simple, 2 switches, either open or closed, or part open, part closed, as much as you want. So while the scaffolders were here, I obviously needed to get these rafters in, but they needed to take this tower out at the same time. So I hadn't planned on them taking this one yet, just this one here. So I did a trade with them, and they helped me lift these in and install them. Basically, one of them held it there while I nailed those in, and then they were able to take this scaffold away. But because of that, it means I haven't actually finished this channel here. This is going to be the next Velux set of double Veluxes. So I've got the timbers pre-cut, ready to go, and I can get them in. I've got the wobbly tower and a ladder, so I can get those in easily enough, and then I can underboard with OSB, insulate, and then put the super quilt on.